Hello, 7 East receiving students and teachers.
Hello, Miss Sodua.
Thank you, take your seats. I hope you all good students and teachers out there, you're ready for another science lesson, so as the model class. Now, we will go on to what we have learned in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we looked at the sea community. And now I know students, on your minds, you are ready to tell me how many zones are there when we look at the sea community and what kind of animals or living things are found in those different zones. So how many zones are there, class? 4. Very good. So the first one is the intertidal zone, and the second one? Near zone, and third one? Last one, class? Very good. Now, there were two questions that you need to answer, but one was not answered. Let's go to those two questions, if you can still remember. The first one says, why can't living things found in near seashore zone live in deep sea? Some living things, or some living things, will not live in the deep sea zone. They live in the near seashore zone. Why is it that they can't go and live there? Why? Okay, good. Receiving students, I hope you're telling your teachers. Model class, let's hear from one of you. Win? Come on, give a try. Alfred? Evelyn, thank you. Class, let's listen to Evelyn's reason.
Because they belong to that habitat.
Sorry, once again and slowly.
Because they belong to that habitat.
They cannot? Oh, because they belong to that habitat. What makes you think that they belong to that habitat and makes them want to stay in that zone? You think about yourself. You have your own house there. You cannot move to another person's house and live there. Why are you so comfortable at your home? What makes you to stay there? Same as the living things in those different zones. Thank you, Evelyn. That's good. Clement, thank you.
Because where they live is not suitable for them, so they move to another place where they feel comfortable to live.
All right, good. Okay, thank you. So I hope other students in the receiving school, you have some good answers given to your teacher. And most of the time, we will find that living things would want to live in some particular areas because they adjust themselves. There's food there, there's oxygen or other things. The place is warm, therefore those living things will want to live in those particular places. Now, question number two, the main reason why some living things move from one zone to another is because of food. They want to get food, but they cannot go from many zones. They leave one zone and go to another one, to another one. They only move from one to another one and back again. For example, birds, some birds, they stay in one zone, and when it's time to look for food, they fly to another area to look for food, and they stay there, and whenever seasons or whatever change, they fly back again. Now, Receiving teachers, we are on the same strand, substrand, and outcome 7.2.2. You were introduced to the last lesson's topic, which is on freshwater community. Hands up if you come from a place where you live near a swamp or a river. Your village is near a river. Please put your hands up. Good, very good. Hands down. So, receiving students, I hope you all have your hands up also to tell your teacher that you come from a place near the river. Now, we are now moving away from the sea community and we are going to be looking at the freshwater community. Now, class, I'd like you to copy this table into your exercise book. Receiving teacher, please do that for your students. All right, class, I hope you have that table written in your exercise book. Let's go through the table together on the screen. This is what you're going to do. You have a column here that's for prediction. I have 3 spaces here. If you wish to increase the spaces, you may do so, right? So it doesn't mean that you only name 3 living things here. You can name more than 3. Now, first of all, you will make your predictions by guessing the names of those living things that live in the pond community. For the receiving schools that are located near the river, you can use that for your river community. Here, we are going to use the pond. Okay, once we go out and make our observations, we are going to confirm our predictions by putting a tick or an X. And this column here also, you will have to write the names of those living things that you did not predict. You actually went to the pond and you found, oh yes, I did not write this living thing down. You write it here. And population, you know what to do. You count, and if there are many, you only write many. If you see that you count and there are some 10 or 12, you write the number down. Okay. All right, class, listen. When we are moving out, we have to be quiet. We must be careful when we are outside. Do not disturb the animals in the pond. Do not throw things into the pond or pick anything around you when you are out there. Now, there are two questions which I'd like you to copy in your books. Please copy these two questions down. Two questions for you to copy into your exercise book. After your observation, you will be answering these two questions. Right, let's see who is going to be the first student to complete his or her question and are ready to move out. Those of us finished with the question, I'd like you to do your predictions. Write down the name of living things that you will find at the pond. Can be both plants and animals. Remember, you're going to work in trees or in pairs. Your predictions done? Okay, some more, two more. Are you discussing? Yes, two more. Two more. All right, let's see our question. Number one reads, why do you think these living things that are found in the pond, in our case, live in that habitat, pond habitat? And number two, explain why some fish and plants from still water meaning water that's not flowing, such as the pond, cannot live in fast flowing streams. There are some streams or rivers that are fast flowing where some living things like some fish cannot live there. Why? You have to explain. Now let's see if we have completed predicting from the table. If we are ready, then we will have to move out. Please, I won't repeat myself. Model class, you are expected to observe using your 5 senses and behaving yourself outside. Right. Work in pairs or work in trees. Let's now move out and head towards the pond.
Yeah, only one. You should be yeah, I saw one. I saw one.
Noise down. I said you and your friend.
Dalla BM Seymour se pistole, pare che anche. E me, uè.
What else name?
Saga. Try na saga. Try lang mati.
Some of the things that it's not listed in our list.
Hey, no shouting.
It's on Sunday.
Listen to me from where you are. Your predictions first. What do you
Yeah. Anda lo sto. Lili, what a Lili.
Animals.
So abisuri. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna fall down and there. Stop screaming. Fly soon.
In the classroom, we did some prediction, and the prediction was in the things that was in the pond communities, and we predict about fish, frog, tadpoles, water lily, and dragonfly shells, water beetles, and cancun. We came to the pond communities and found that fish were in, and some that we predict was not in the pond areas, and some that we didn't test we put in the prediction was snail, tilapia. And the population we find was snail was one, fish is many, and frog didn't was in there. Water lily was many, tilapias are many, grasses were many, and mosquitoes also. But water bugs are 6 only. That's all we find in our community group.
All right, thank you. We'll have these girls here in front to go through their table, and you also check against your list.
We did our prediction in the classroom was fish, tadpole, dragonfly, housefly, butterfly, snake, worm, mosquito. Our confirmation was we found fish, we found tadpole, and we found housefly, worm, and mosquito. And dragonfly and butterfly and snake, we didn't find them in the pond. Okay, the things that we didn't name them were stone, water lily, frog, snail, and fungi. The population of fish, many, tadpole, many, dragonfly, none, housefly, many, butterfly, none, snake, none, worm, many, and mosquito, many.
Thank you. Now, tell me, some of you, I found out that you listed stone, water, and especially water and stone. Why did you include that on your list? Because I said you only name the living things. It can be plants or animals. But why do you think stone and water is also included on your list? What makes you to write them down? Okay, let's hear from her. She has our answer to that.
Because they are part of the freshwater community.
Oh, did you hear what she said? Because they are part of the pond or freshwater community. Do you think they're important too?
Yes.
Why do you say they're important? If you say water is important at the pond community, why? Put your hands up quickly. Walter? Evelyn, why do you say water is important? You have it on your list.
Why do you think make place beautiful?
All right, she says water is also included on the list because it makes the place beautiful. Is that only one answer? Well, on the other hand, you may say it makes it beautiful. That's one answer. Walter? Emmanuel. Sorry, Emmanuel.
Because it provides the living things to live in the water.
Would it provide living things? What does it actually provide for them? Like the water lily. We can take the water lily for example.
Food,
Food. Okay, good. Food for the water lily.
nutrition. Shelter. And shelter.
And shelter, very good. So you will find that the water is on the other end, a shelter for the living things that are living in the pond. All right. Now we will go through our summary for today's lesson. I hope you all have listed down a lot of things. I am going to collect your worksheets. Make sure you write your name. And in our next lesson, we will go through some interesting things that you have also listed on the table. All right, we will go through our summary for today's lesson. Before that, we will go through the questions first. Those questions will come when we go through the next lesson. All right, so listen to the summary. If you can write it down, you write it down. If you cannot, then I will give it to you in the next lesson. Okay, our summary reads: food, water, air, temperature, sunlight, and other living things contribute to the survival of life in the freshwater community. So the summary simply means living things and other living things, they depend on each other, and as a result of depending on each other, they are able to survive, or they're able to live. All right, class. There's a plant that is common in this pond here, and that plant is going to be our key word for today's lesson. Everybody? Water lily. Water lily is our key word for today's lesson. With that, thank you everyone for participating.
You are welcome, Miss Godua.
And thank you for your lesson.